This exhibition, called Scanning SETI, the regeneration of a pharaonic tomb, is taking place in Basel. We set up in this courtyard, so actually we're sitting in an outside space which is now covered by a tent, which I hope on camera looks exactly like it would look if you took the same shot in Egypt.
So the opportunity which gives us the new technology is that we can scan the tomb in his actual condition, which is very bad, but we can also scan the various fragments in the museums all over the world or private collections, and we can assemble them digitally and then print it out as a facsimile in a scale 1:1 in its original condition with all its fragments which were missing today and all the colors which are belonging to.
Factum Arte basically works in experimental ways with contemporary artists, solving the needs of today. But very often the same technologies can be applied to working with cultural heritage and recording and documenting cultural heritage. In fact, the only thing we're doing is documenting. So Factum Foundation is not a team of Egyptologists. We work with Egyptologists. We have Egyptologists in the team. But our core goal is to record in colour, in 3 dimensions, and in other more artisanal ways that allow us to know the exact tone and hue of a colour if we want to try and replicate it. So the fact that we were able to make this facsimile in the workshops in Madrid and side by side with the original pieces, they're identical, means we've got the right amount of data to actually be able to rematerialize using the newest technologies. So for me, the real excitement of this show is for the first time ever, we now have output methods developed in Holland by OSE that enable us to print in 5-micron layers the 3D data we've recorded. So the output method is now higher resolution than we're able to record. And that's the first time that's been possible.
But we could get also some originals, like in my background on the right, a corner of the famous pillar hall below, directly connected with the sarcophagus hall. And on the left, there is another famous fragment of the tomb, which is in Berlin. It's the site of a pillar, so it was not possible to take it out, but we have a facsimile here, and as you see, it's hard to distinguish facsimile and original.
Long-term archiving is the issue that everyone's talking about at the moment. So in the event of a nuclear war, in the event of madness in North Korea or Washington, we're in a position where there may be periods of time on the planet with no electricity. What would happen to digital data with an extended period of time with no electricity? Well, the answer is it probably wouldn't survive. So how you do long-term data preservation and how you preserve these cultural artifacts in the eventuality of a disaster, or in the much more realistic eventuality of a gradual decline to the point in which they're meaningless. We've been working to show how new technologies can transform our understanding of the past and are constantly transforming and changing the way we look and think about the past. Can we show that through visiting a facsimile, it's actually possible to understand more than it is by visiting the original object, because the conditions needed to protect the original object mean there's very little light, mean you can't spend a long time in the tomb, mean that there's no didactic displays around. It means that they need to keep the visitors moving. But in here, you can actually focus, you can look, you can think, and if you're a scholar, you can start projecting. And you can then go back to the original tomb with very specific thoughts and ideas and compare them. What I really feel we're on the cusp of doing is opening up many, many new levels of understanding, which will feed through to the tourists. And if the tourists start to understand that it's important they go to Luxor, but it's also important they don't visit some of the tombs that are in really fragile condition, and those can be kept either for the Ministry of Antiquities to charge very high prices for very small groups, or they can be closed. So only given access to scholars who need to study them, as is the case with the caves at Lascaux or the caves in Altamira.